Alex Becker did a poll on his Twitter page asking how many people took profits last bull market. How many? What percentage of people do you think didn't take any profits? Anybody have any guesses? None. Took zero
Not
profits.
90%. 90%.
86%. Yeah, 86% of people didn't take any profits whatsoever in the last bull run, and this is a very common thing in crypto. I mean, it's a common thing in all markets, but it's even more common in crypto because of the moon boy mentality. The so-called influencers or notable people in the space, 9 out of 10 of them don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're giving you unrealistic price targets to prop their bags up 90% of the time. And this is something that I fell for in 2018. In 2017, I got into crypto right at the end around December. I think I took like $2,000 to 14,000 in like 3 weeks. And mind you, this is my first investment I've ever made. I've never bought a stock, nothing. This is just crypto was big, Bitcoin was big. I bought some XRP. It went up a lot. I didn't sell anything. Crypto winter came. And that 14,000 quickly went back down to like 1,500. Yeah, like I was listening to all the crypto YouTubers telling me that the super cycle's coming. This is just a minor pullback. Don't worry, and then crypto winter came, and I made the mistake of leaving, not learning more, not averaging into positions, just leaving and taking a break. The good thing I did do is I didn't sell any of my crypto. I held it all. Fast forward to 2021. I didn't buy any of the 2020 crash. I wasn't really focused on investing then at that time, unfortunately. And 2021 comes around, and I think by March, I bought a little bit more in early 2021, but not nothing crazy. By March of 2021, it was up to like $90,000, my bag. I didn't sell anything. Elon China crash happens, goes back down to 27,000. Once again, I learned, damn, I didn't take profits. I had 90 grand. Now I'm down to 27. I could have 3x my bag down here. Didn't do it. Made the mistake again of not averaging into positions during that summer when prices were suppressed. When prices started going up again towards the fall, I started taking positions. We were doing well. We were doing spot trades, making good money. I was back up to like 90,000 by Thanksgiving. Didn't sell, kept buying. Even though the chart was telling me clearly on the chart there was a clear double top on BTC, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, what the pattern is and what I mean by that. But BTC gave us a clear sell signal back in November that I saw, and I knew what it was because at the time I had learned technical analysis, but I ignored it because I was biased. And I wanted to break six figures. That's really like what I wanted, right? Like I wanted to break six figures, and that's when I was going to take profits. It's a silly fucking thing, 10 grand. Let me put the daily chart on so you guys see what I'm talking about. So this is like the most textbook perfect double top I think I've ever seen. A double top is where the chart makes two tops like this, and then it's a bearish signal. Same with a double bottom. So if this was inverse, this would be a bullish pattern, double bottom. So it's when it goes up, comes down, makes a small base, comes right back up, and then sells right back down. I saw this. I'm like, oh, this is a double top, and this is a bearish. After a run up like this, is very bearish pattern to form. I ignored it when the chart was telling me to sell. I let my bias get in the way. I didn't take profits. So that's just going to be a minor small pullback. I'm not going to sell. I ended up selling somewhere around here. I liquidated my whole bag. I didn't hold. I did cut the entire bag, but this bias here cost me $30,000. I ended up selling for 50 something instead of 90. So once again, my bias cost me money, but this time I was learning, right? I didn't bag hold this. I said, you know what, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. This is also very closely following the 2017, 2018 cycle where we peaked out in November, December. and just headed down ever since. Had a few bounces in between, like, you know, this little scam pump and this little pump, but the bull cycle was over, right? This was the end of the bull cycle here. That's what people failed to realize, is that this was the end of the cycle up here in November. We started crashing in December. I liquidated my whole bag. So it just goes to show you that, like, taking profits and having a strategy for taking profits is extremely important. You know, if this is your first cycle, or even if you've been around, like, you could see, like, the prices always come back down. Like, we get into this mindset in crypto, especially because there's a lot of a narrative being pushed, like, oh, the prices are never going to go back down again. Bitcoin's never going to break 22K again. It's not going to be a bear market again. Like, there's a lot of really stupid statements that are made, but unfortunately, crypto tends to attract the worst type of investors, because there's promises of Lambos and getting rich very quickly and not having to do much work for it. So a lot of people go into crypto. Hey, Captain, can you mute yourself, please? A lot of people go into crypto with the wrong mentality to begin with, right? Or they put these unrealistic price targets in their head, like, oh, I'll sell my Shiba when it goes to $1, not even fully comprehending that that's like mathematically impossible. Like, for Shiba to get to $1, it would have to have a $500 trillion market cap, something like, even to get to 1 penny, you would need a $5 trillion market cap, which at that time was 5x the entire crypto sector's market cap, right? So people just don't even comprehend how. And I was the same way in 2018. I was watching the YouTubers. And I'm sure people here have done it too, seeing the targets. Oh, Cardano's going to go to 10. ETH is going to go to 10K. Bitcoin's going to 100K. And people put these price targets in their head, and, like, I'm not going to sell until that happens. And then what happens? Everybody I know who bag held is down bad right now. Like, I have a buddy who's a whale who buys millions in crypto. I was telling him to sell right around here. He didn't listen. He bought more here. I told him not to buy. He bought more here. I told him not to buy. He's down like 60, 70%. I think he's down like $600,000 or something like that on his portfolio, which at one point he was up a lot on, because he just didn't sell. He refused to sell. I just see this so much in crypto, that people they don't sell, and then they give you the same bullshit excuse when they don't sell. It's like, oh, I'm in it for the long haul. That's what every person who didn't take profits will tell you. Like, every single person who's forgot to take profits, didn't trim their position, oh, I'm in it for the long haul. No, that's just an excuse, because you didn't take profits and now you're down 70% and you're going to say holding it long term, you know. So I'm going to explain my strategy, and just this applies to NFTs too. Let me actually tell a little bit of my story with NFTs too. So I started really trading NFTs in December, right after I liquidated my crypto bag. So I had like $50,000, and the crypto market was bearish. There weren't plays anymore. And I kept hearing about NFTs. So I decided to jump into NFTs. My first month in NFTs, I instantly lost 20 grand. So I instantly lost like half my stack. I made a big bet on Wizards and Dragons, which was stupid. Instead of buying Doodles at 1.8 and Mutants at 3, which was my suggestion to me, I was told to buy those. I decided not to. Put 20 grand into Wizards and Dragons, went to zero. Bought Little Baby Ape Club. That was a rug. Delisted in 12 hours. Discord DM scam. So long story short, I lost like almost half of my stack. And then I was doing research 10, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was going to quit, honestly. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not quitting. I'm going to figure this shit out. Started doing well, hit a bunch of plays. I think in January, in the first 2 weeks of January, I was up like $70,000. It was like 20 ETH or something like that. My portfolio, once again, I didn't take any profits. I got greedy. I thought the bull market's going to last longer. It's only been a couple of weeks. I really underestimated how short cycles are in the NFT market. Hold on 1 second. I really underestimated how short cycles are in the NFT market. That's one thing that I had to learn the hard way, is that I thought that when the bull market was going to come, that it would last a while. But the reality of it is that cycles in the NFT market last like literally 3 to 4 weeks, and then they'd stop, and then a completely new meta starts. So I was really learning the NFT space when the bull market hit us. So even though I made some really good plays, I didn't have my profit taking strategy down, because trading NFTs is different than trading crypto spot or leverage crypto or options, right? It's all different. There's similarities, but there's different strategies to each of them. Especially NFTs, how illiquid they are and how quickly they can become extremely illiquid. So I didn't take profits once again, and I think I wiped off like 45 grand in profit in like less than 3 days by not taking any profits in January. So that was another lesson that I needed to learn this time with NFTs. Because listen, I'm human like anybody else, and I also make mistakes, and I also have emotions, and I also get greedy, and I got greedy, and I thought, oh, they're gonna go higher, right? I had crypto mores that get up to 2.8 ETH. I'm like, nah, they're gonna go to 5. I had this thing that went up to 3 and change. I was like, nah, I'm gonna sell it at 4, right? There's always this like little extra push that we want to give in our heads instead of just taking profits and locking in some gains. And we also have this thing with NFTs specifically, and some people with their crypto coins where they marry their NFTs, right? Where they feel like, oh, I can't sell this. I need to have this NFT, or you see it all the time. And even I was like that in January. So unfortunately, by the time that I really like perfected my NFTs trading strategy, the bear market was over. But I was able to, apply it to a couple good trades before the cycle ended, and ended up making a really nice bag. So I want to go over some of my trades and kind of like what my strategy is with NFTs and how I take profits and how I execute my trades. And also then I'll go into crypto and how I scale into positions, how I scale out of positions. So I want to talk about two of the bigger trades that I did before the kind of the market collapsed. And one of the most important things that I learned with NFTs is you sell pre-reveal every time, no matter what. So I don't care how much you love the project. I don't care how great it is. If you're holding it through reveal so that you hope it gets, you pull a rare, you're not trading, you're gambling. That's not.
Except for the Magma Pass.
But see, Magma's different because it's like an exclusive community pass, access passes. Those are different, right? Because if you're buying it and you actually want to be in a small exclusive community like that, that's a different story. I'm talking about like trades, investments, short-term swings, like whatever it is, because Magma's a pass. It's not going to reveal. They're all the same. So this one doesn't really apply. But like when it's a PFP project specifically, like they dump on reveal 95% of the time. So let's look at other side, for example. I minted 2 other sides for around $18,000 US. I sold both of them for $20,000 pre-reveal, right? So I made 20,000 after fees. I made 20 grand off the trade. Oh, you want to be a bitch right now. And now they're currently at $2,800. They were even lower. So they fell pretty quickly after the reveal. I think within a couple days, they were already like substantially below what they cost to mint with gas and everything like that. So I sold one for 20 grand, and these actually hit like 1.9 ETH at one point. So I could have actually bought 10 for every one plot that I sold, right? I could have literally bought 4 and still pocketed like 10 grand, 5-6 grand in profit. So the point of this is that, and PXN is another one, right? I sold my PXN. I made $15,000 on that trade. I clipped all of them pre-reveal. I think 3 ETH, 3.8, 3.3, right? I made 15,000. I sold them for, this was when ETH was still 3K plus. I was selling them for around 8,500 to 9,000 a piece, right? Pre-reveal. If I wanted to buy them right now, look how many I could buy, and it wouldn't even cost a fraction of what I sold them for. Why? Because now, if this was a bull market, would PXN have pulled back this much? No, probably not. But whenever a project is running up pre-reveal and it minting at 1, 2 ETH, or other side minted at 2 ETH or whatever it was, and then ran up to 8 ETH, like you should always sell pre-reveal. You should always take profits. Like I've only seen one project not dip on reveal, and that was Zuki. It dipped for like an hour, or they'll just dip for a very brief period of time. Like Moonbirds is another example. Like Moonbirds hit the market at like 12, 13, and then it dipped to like 6 for fucking 30 minutes, I think, and then it just went rocketed right back up. So there are like, but the Moonbird situation was because it was an instant reveal. So that's typically not the case, right? Typically you get, especially PXN, right? They had a super drawn out reveal process. I knew this was going to come down. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I had a mint in my mouth and I just swallowed it. I almost got stuck in my throat. Oh, sorry. If they have any issues with the reveal, if they have any issues with the art, with the amount that they dragged it out, and how hyped this project was and how long they took to reveal it, like the floor is going to get decimated. And they did have some issues with the reveal and it went down. So it's just like, if you know that 90% of the time they're going to dip on reveal, why hold through reveal, right? Like you'll be able to get a better entry later on if you take profits and buy back in 90% of the time. And it always works. Like I always have people arguing with me in Disto about this project, how this one's going to be different or this one's going to be different. It's like, no, they're not. They all are the same, right? It's just basic human psychology, right? You got people who are gambling, holding their NFTs pre-reveal, trying to get a rare. What percentage of them are rare? 10%? All right. So you got 9 out of 10 other jabronis who are going to start undercutting theirs if they don't like the one that they got and they didn't get a rare one. So you're just playing a game of hot potato, and it's not really like trading. Like the moment we get into like oh, well, maybe I'll get a rare one, or maybe I'll pull a 1-on-1 or this and that, like it's gambling. And if you're going to do that, what my advice is, at the very least, you buy 3, you sell 2, you hold 1 for free. All right. If you buy 3 and the pre-reveal run up is pretty strong, then you should ideally be able to sell 2, get all your money back, and hopefully lock in some profits. Now you're playing with house money, right? So if you really do like the project, what you can do is you could leave 1 or 2 runners and play with house money. But the thing about NFTs is that it's extremely illiquid and volatile asset class, the most illiquid and most volatile asset class in the world, period, out of any market, hands down. Maybe the shitcoin market is up there too, but I can't tell you which one is worse. I think NFTs is probably worse. You could actually get out of a shitcoin faster usually than an NFT, unless it just rugs. But what I just got completely distracted. What was I just saying before the shitcoin comment? Oh, illiquid, right? So you want to de-risk as quick as you possibly can. Like you want to de-risk as fast as you possibly can, because you never know what's going to, like, okay, even in a bear market with crypto and stocks, like you can exit your position very quickly. There's a lot of liquidity in those markets. So like, if you need the money bad, if you need to cut it, you could drop it in 2 seconds. With most crypto coins, most altcoins, most stocks, you can get in and out of your positions very quickly. With NFTs, you never know what can happen, what piece of FUD can come out, and your investment can become completely illiquid. So protecting your capital is the most important thing, right? And trying to stack your ETH and grow your bankroll. So for me, I always sell pre-reveal. If it's hype, if there's action going on, I'll sell pre-reveal. If it presents the opportunity, right? So not always going to present the opportunity. And if I'm just taking it for a short-term trade that I got in for a pre-reveal pump that didn't happen, I'll cut it at break even and I'll take a small loss on fees because I know that it's going to dump on the reveal, right? So if I bought it with the intent to take advantage of a reveal pump and that doesn't happen, then we also need to cut our losses and move on, because we know that 90% of the time, the floor is going to drop substantially on reveal, right? Usually 50%, sometimes more. So we don't want to take that risk. Every time I do take that risk, I end up getting smoked. So these are just lessons that I've learned through my 6 months, 7 months trading NFTs. Another thing is we never just buy one NFT, okay? We never just buy one NFT of anything, because when you buy one NFT, you never know when to sell. This applies to trading stocks or options contracts. Also, like, you never want to just buy one share of anything. Like, it's too difficult to determine when to sell it, right? Like, if you buy one NFT and it goes up 2x, are you going to sell? Probably not. In your head, you're going to be telling yourself, what if it goes up 3x? What if it goes up 4x? What if it goes up 5x? But if you bought 3, you can safely cut one at 2x, right? you can cut another one at 3 to 4x. Now you're risk free and you locked in some gains. You can do whatever you want with the last one. Now, lately, like towards the end of my cycle, I realized I'm just selling everything. And I wish I learned this earlier, but like when I really evaluated my NFTs, I realized that there was maybe 3 or 4 NFTs total that I had to be in that community. And the rest of them, I don't even check the Discord, because we all know how it is. Like when we kind of find like our Web3 home, like that's where we spend a lot of our time. Like it's, nobody has the mental capacity except for young kids who don't have a job to be super active in 10 Discords a day. Like I've done it before, my head will just explode. So what I realized is that like I don't really need most of these NFTs. Like I could buy them at a later date, the price will come back down, it's not going anywhere. It's all FOMO and fear of missing out that we don't sell it for, right? Like, oh, what if I sell it and then drop an announcement and it goes up, or this happens? Like, well, that may happen, but at the end of the day, you're going to get another opportunity to buy back in. And this is proving us, like all of us that bag held in January and February and thought we were going to get better opportunities. Well, look, here we are. We have better opportunities because this is how markets work, right? They just move in cycles all the time, and you're always going to get a chance to buy back in. Will you get the same exact entry as, wow, Possess is only 0.75, huh? Not bad though, honestly, for this market. Not bad. If this was in January, this thing would have been 5/16 right now. But yeah, like you want to take profits. Like you really want to look through your NFTs. Like I tell people this all the time. We don't marry our NFTs. I see too many people doing this. They marry their collections. They refuse to sell them. And like for most people in this space, like they're not financially in a position where they're able to do that. And like I know for a fact that 90% of people right now are looking through their portfolio and wish they sold some of the shit back in January or March or even May, right? Or April. Like when ETH was above 30, when ETH was 3,500 and there was still good liquidity in the market, and like, you know, so if you didn't do that in this cycle, like you should really evaluate your trades and evaluate your positions and learn from the mistakes that you made so you don't make them in the next cycle, right? Like that's the most important thing. And the reason I told my story in the beginning is because like I'm explaining the progression of me as a trader, right? How I started in 18, didn't take profits. Even in 21, didn't take profits. The second time, even didn't take profits. But the third time when that crash came, I sold everything. Even though it was on a dip and I had lost 30K, that 50 something thousand dollars that I sold for in December, if I didn't sell it, today it would be worth less than $5,000. Less than $5,000. And at the time, that was most of my net worth. You know, I had other assets, but that was the bulk of my net worth at that time. So I would have been devastated, right? And that's where the position that a lot of people are in right now. Sorry, guys, I was sick last week. But that doesn't mean that you can't recover from it, right? And I think the biggest thing that people do is what you don't do is don't leave like I did in 2018, because I would be retired right now if I didn't do that. You just got to learn from your mistakes and implement strategies. So with NFTs, it's always buy at least 2. I would go for 3. If you could buy more, buy more. But 3 is a real nice sweet spot. 4 or 2 is a really good number, right? Because like say you buy an NFT you buy 4 NFTs at what, a 0.2 floor, they go up to 0.8. You could sell 2, and now you just doubled your whole investment. You got a 2x return on your capital. Now you have 2 NFTs left. Now you could sell both of them and get a 4x return if you like, or you could gamble a little bit. But at the very least, like you already locked in 100% return on your investment. Anybody who's traded equities, or I'm sure Asher can tell you, you go try and trade equities, go try and trade stocks, commodities, something like that. Getting 100% return in a day or two is amazing. And any traditional TradFi investor will tell you that. So if you're able to buy 3 or 4, and you're able to lock in those gains on 2 of them, get your capital back, de-risk, lock into profits, and now you're playing with house money. And then you make the decision whether you want to sell or don't sell, but at least you've de-risked, you've taken your risk off the table. And this is the same thing that applies with crypto, right? So I do the same exact thing when I'm managing my crypto positions, right? So first, I'm going to speak about scaling into positions with crypto. You don't want to just throw your whole bag in at once, right? Especially when we're accumulating position in a market like this. It's different scenarios for a bull and a bear market, but you guys saw last week, I bought in 10% of my stable bag into altcoins. Now I intended to hold those for long term, but the reason that I sold them was because the market moved way faster than I expected it to. Like I expected a bounce, 15%, 20%. That's standard after getting smacked the way that we got smacked with crypto, with Celsius and all the liquidations and everything. But I didn't expect us to pump like 30, 40, 50% in 1 week, which is kind of like what we did. Matic went up 85%. I think overall I put in 8,100 and I got back $3,900. So I almost got 50% across my entire investment in a week in a bear market. And that simply is too good to pass up, right? So while a lot of people were averaging more into their positions, which we saw on Twitter, right? We instantly saw people calling the bull market was back, this and that, even though we had a clear rising wedge on ETH on the daily chart, textbook rising wedge into the 9 EMA. Oh, this is Bitcoin, I'm sorry. Bitcoin also had a rising wedge, but yeah, here's ETH. And now if we look back on the positions, right, look at Solana. So we sold Solana at 42. We bought it at 29.88. It's almost back at our entry. We bought AVAX at 14.80 something. It's almost back at our entry. Theta is back down at our entry. Matic is holding up strong because it went up 90%, but this will also come back down to our entry, right? So this is something that I learned over time, that I don't get that FOMO anymore. I'm not scared to cut a position, right? I just cut it, no problem. And now I could buy back in if I want to, substantially more for around the same prices, right? And this is what it's all about. I'm accumulating more. I'm averaging into my stack. And all this requires is a little bit of practice, a little bit of education. And you don't have to just be the people who do the long-term investing where it's like I buy and I just never sell. Like that's the laziest form of investing to me. And if you're not a millionaire, you don't have the luxury of doing that, in my opinion. If you're not a millionaire right now, if you're someone who's trying to increase your wealth, then you don't have the luxury of just being like, oh, I'm just gonna buy this and never sell it. Because like unless you have a decent amount of money, like it's gonna be hard to accumulate wealth like that. You're gonna have to learn a little bit about technical analysis and how to take profits, how to scale into positions, so that you're able to time entries and get in, right? Because most inexperienced people, a lot of people bought Bitcoin at 70,000 and then sold it for a loss. And now they're going to leave and they're going to come back in the bull run again and buy more. So in a bear market scenario, I scaled in 10% of my stable bag when I purchased last week. And I was intending to scale in more, right? I was expecting a small bounce and then a pullback, and I would have scaled in more. I would have scaled in more next time we broke a new low on ETH, right? So if we got to close around 900 or around here, I would have scaled in probably another 15% of my bag. I don't think we're going to bottom in crypto till around November. That's historically when we bottom. I think that's what we'll see our bottom on Bitcoin and ETH. And if you look back in 2018, we had a lot of bounces that year too. There was a lot of bull traps, a lot of bounces that happened at that time during 2018 until we finally bottomed in November of 2018. You see this? So look, March of 18, what do we see here? Little scam pump that we just got in April. Sell off, another little pump, sell off, another little bounce, another little bounce. And then we just bottomed out here in November, and then we started to trend up. So typically it takes 12 months after the peak to fully bottom out. The peak was in November, so ideally we could see the bottom being somewhere around November. Now, granted, if there's some type of macro catalyst that comes out to change that, it's possible that it happens before. I highly doubt it. I see more and more bearish macro catalysts coming out every day, not positive. So I just don't see that happening, but it's possible. Anything is possible, right? If the US was to come out and legalize Bitcoin as legal tender, it probably would go through the fucking roof. So, I don't think that's going to happen, but just a hypothetical scenario, it can. But ideally speaking, I believe in the fall is when we'll bottom. So I'm looking to slowly deploy 10 to 15% of my stable bag into assets, blue chip altcoin assets that I like. Same with blue chip stocks, right? I'm starting to build out a stock portfolio. I'm averaging into positions, doing $400, $500, $600 a month, and just averaging into positions over the next 12 months because I think we're going to get even better at buying opportunities. but I think that at this point, it's safe to start building out positions. So I would just 10% average out my bags over time into these positions until I build out a solid position. And then when the bull market, when it comes time to taking profits with crypto, once the bull market is back, right, we could see substantial gains in altcoins. We will see substantial gains in altcoins, right? I mean, typically the money flows back into Bitcoin first, then into ETH, and then into the alts. That's typically how the cycles work. So we'll probably see Bitcoin reverse first, then ETH, then alts will follow after that. But we'll see substantial gains in alts, right? So number one thing that I'll do is if I'm getting to the point where I'm ready to start trimming or taking profits on my positions, I'll move the assets onto a hot wallet, preferably a wallet that has limit orders, right? And what I mean by limit orders is I could set stop losses. So what I'll do is I will set protective stop losses, right? As soon as a position goes up 20% in profit, I place a stop loss above break even in a bull market, right? This is not when I'm accumulating a position in a bear market. This is now we're talking a bull market. We flipped into a bull market. Coins are ripping. We're green. The second that a position goes plus 20% on me, I'm putting a protective stop loss on it at break even. That means that if the position comes back to my entry price, it's getting cut. I don't care. Like if we're in a bull market and the market's bullish and the asset goes up 20% and reverses and comes back down on you, your timing was off, right? So you can cut the position at break even because we never want to let a green trade go red. And then we could come back into that position once it bottoms out or finds its level, whatever it is that it's doing. Will there be scenarios where they just punch your stop loss and keep going? Yeah, sure. But the point is we're putting these protective stops in place and we're not allowing a green trade to go red. Like KP, for example, right? His story earlier, how he put 0.5 into an altcoin, a shitcoin went to 17 ETH, he didn't sell. Now I don't know what, I think the bag is back down to like the same amount, right? Like that should have never happened.
No, I sold it for 0.1.
0.1. KP, I'm gonna kill you when I see you. I'm gonna slap you for that. Seriously. Nomad is the same way. He had a bag of Colt he put like 80 ETH into a shitcoin, went to 90 ETH. I'm telling him, sell, bro. Please sell. Just sell the thing. Sell it. No, I'm not gonna sell. It's gonna go to $1 billion market cap. And then he ended up selling for like, what did he sell for KP? I think, I don't know. It cost him like $40,000 or $50,000. That
I think he's still in profit, but like at the top, he had like an 80 ETH when ETH was 3,500.
Yeah, he made
like
120.
Even he's up now. You see why he is down.
He was up 120,000 on the trade and didn't take profits. So my rule that I always tell people is we never let a green trade go red. Okay, if you enter a position, it goes green on you. I can't tell you, and I'm sure a lot of you are in here the same way. People like your position went up 400% or 500%. You went up 6, 7x, 10x on a fucking coin and didn't sell, and now you're red on it. Like that can't happen. It just cannot happen. Period. I don't care why. I don't care how much you believe in the project. I don't want to hear about none of that shit. Okay. If you entered a position, you bought it as an investment to make money. Yes. No one's buying coins because they love what, we all love what the blockchain does, but we're buying them to make money, right? We're not buying them because we just like spending money on stuff to support causes for blockchain development. We're doing it as an investment to make money, right? So if that investment went up a substantial percentage, you cannot let it come back down and exit you, right? So as I said, it went up 20%, I'm putting a stop at break even. If it goes up 100%, I'm putting my stop at 50%, right? So if it comes back down, I'm exiting the position for 50% profit. Now, depending on the climate, right? Like you saw how in this market, it gave me 50%. I sold everything and I took profits because I'm trading against the trend here. And what that means is that we are in a clear downtrend, as we could see on this chart. So me buying long positions is going against the trend, right? So if it gives me 50%, even though I bought them as long-term trades, if the market gives me 50% profit in 5 days and I made $4,000, I'm going to take it, right? Because we know that it's going to come back down and give us better entries. Now, if it had only gone up 10%, I wouldn't have bought more. I wouldn't have sold. I'm sorry, not bought more. I wouldn't have sold. If it went up 15%, I probably wouldn't have sold either. And even for 20%, probably not. But give me a nice 50% juicy gain in 7 days on spot in a bear market like this, I'm going to take it. But if we're in a bull market, now this is a different story, right? Because in a bull market on crypto, when things are moving, like you can get 400% on spot trades, 4x on spot trades in 2 weeks, right? So I don't take profits as quickly. I'll start considering to take profits at 100% typically. Once we get to a 2x, that's when I'll consider taking profits. In a bull market, in a fucking bullish scenario like we had last year, Q4 2021 or March 2020, things like that, DeFi summer, right? Like I'll consider start taking profits at 100%. But ideally, like at 2, it also depends on when I enter the position, right? So I'll talk about sand, for example. I got into sand last year. So I killed this metaverse trade. First, it was Mana, right? We remember when Facebook changed their name to, I'm also going to give you a brief lesson on how to trade trends in the market. This was when Facebook changed their name to Metaverse, okay? And right around the same time, Microsoft said they were building a Metaverse. So Mana in 4 days went from 76 cents to $5, right? So, like an 8x, which is like incredible. What was, I don't know what the percentage was. 6x. So this instantly caught my eye. So as soon as this happened, I knew that Facebook was changing their name to Metaverse. I see all these people, Metaverse buzzing everywhere. I instantly start doing research on Metaverse. I saw this clean bull flag or bullish pennant, whatever you want to call it, forming, right? Falling wedge, whatever, clean bullish pattern, nice pullback after an insane run up like this. I was instantly watching. Sand did the same thing. So I'm doing my research on sand. I see that sand has already ran up crazy last year. It went from, I don't know what, sand, I think this was November 2020, it went from like 2 negative. It was, no, that can't be right. It was at 4 cents and it ran up all the way to $7 or something, something absurd. When I had, no, I'm sorry. This weekly chart is throwing me off. November, was it? October. Here it is. Here's the run up. Okay. So it had already run up from 4 cents up to $3, right? So this is a 100x. So I was definitely careful to get in, but I wanted to get in because the Mana run up and Facebook and the macro and the meta right then was metaverses, right? Every NFT project was doing a metaverse. Everybody was building a metaverse. New metaverses were popping up every day. So I literally cut all my Bitcoin, all my Cardano, half my crypto portfolio, and went all in on metaverse plays. Meta Hero, Mana, Sand, Engine. What else did I load up? I think that was it, right? So I watched this pop, another clean bullish pattern forming here. Pull back into support, right? We loaded up right around here, 220. 220 is when we got into this position right here. And this was the 10th of November. And in 2 weeks on the dot, 220 went to $8, okay? So for this trade, I first trimmed around here. When it doubled, I trimmed like 20% of my position. So when I was at a 2x, I trimmed 20%. I trimmed another like 10%, maybe at $5. I trimmed another 10% up at $6. And then I cut the entire bag at 8 and change. So this was a good trade for me that I took profits on and executed well. But this is 2 examples of how in a bull market, the reason I was cutting these quicker, because I knew we were at the end of the cycle. I missed a good portion of the bull cycle. I knew we were deep into the cycle already. I knew that this coin had already done 100x. So I'm not going to get greedy here, right? Like if a coin did 100x already, it's not going to do another 100x realistically, because Sand was already at $1 billion market cap. This is another really important thing that people don't consider is we need to look at market caps, right? So when a coin is sitting at like a multiple $1 billion market cap and you hear people talking about it's going to 10x or 5x or 20x from here, you got to understand how much capital needs to flow into that asset to do those multiples, right? If a coin is at $10 billion, for it to do a 10x from there, another $90 billion has to flow into that asset, right? Which requires major institutional investing. Okay, so our institution is going to be throwing $90 billion at an asset after it's done 100x in a year? Probably not. But that doesn't mean that the retail isn't going to pump this with the whole metaverse, and that institutions aren't going to short-term trade this and take advantage of it. So we just need to be mindful of that, right? Like if we're catching coins, if we're buying coins that we bought in a bear market, we could ride those up way past 100% because the bull market is just starting. But if we're buying coins at the tail end of a bull market, yeah, we could still get a 4x, but we need to take profits, right? Because when we don't take profits, this is what happens. So that 400% 4x play that I made would be, I would be negative on it right now by 60, 70% if I held. So, and I did the same with Mana. Took profits on Mana. I didn't get as good of a run up on Mana. And Meta Hero was another one that did a 3x or a 4x in the same time span. And also I took profits on that one and sold because I knew we were getting towards the end of the cycle, right? Like historically the cycle tops out like 18 months or something. I forget what the exact number is after the halving. But 2017, 18 peaked like right around here, right? So I was getting nervous here and I was just taking profits and cutting positions. So yeah, if it's depending on what stage of the cycle it's in, hold on one second. Oh shit, hold on one second. Babe, the food's here. Fuck me, bro. Why do these motherfuckers not know how to ring the doorbell? Oh, my fucking food. Bro. Bro, what's up with these Uber drivers? They can't just like ring the doorbell, really? Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I ordered food.
Yeah, no worries.
ordered
In the
food and,
meanwhile, I want to remind people that they can ask questions if they have anything on their minds.
Yes.
Going pretty fast. Yeah.
Before questions, I'll make a comment on the profit taking and how not to fall into the what I'll call the bias dilemma. Like we've seen on Twitter, many people sharing their like when they sold their buy for 4 ETH or 5 ETH and how they are regretting that now. There won't be another buy. Trust me, there is one buy that went to 150 ETH and there will never be another project that will achieve that. So if you have a project that 5 to 6x, just like what Manu mentioned, like if you purchase 2, 3, or 4, keep one for the like in case it went crazy, but sell the majority of what you hold. There will never be another buyer. Maybe we will get another Doodle. Doubtful. Like Doodle had a crazy money. The team was everyone on the team was an OG NFT from 2017. Doodle was a different story. So the buyer story will never happen again. You don't expect to buy something now or rent something for 1 ETH and it goes to 150 ETH. This will never happen. The other comment is to have a strategy, to have like let's call it a written strategy. Like, hey, I want, like if you are trading crypto, even if the price is going crazy and you set you take profit, let's say to 10% or 20%, stick to that, or at least sell half your bag at that strategy and leave a moon bag. Never leave your full bag in a trade, especially if it's green, and especially if it has your target.
I have a question about that. So, do you guys remember when the last bull started? Like which month?
It started literally the next day after Thanksgiving, on 27th of December.
Yeah, it's for NFTs, right?
Yes, I'm speaking NFTs. For crypto, it was like after COVID crash.
Yeah, but even NFTs, like the bull run really got heated up in January. Like in December, it was good. January, the first 2 weeks of January were like insanity, and January was like a record volume month. I think we did like 16 billion. I don't know, some absurd number.
Dude, if
Every day
Zipsy-
was 200 million volume.
Yeah,
Like, every
at
day,
least,
basically.
at least. Some days
yeah,
300.
like, man, we remember Zipsy, like Sona, those that like
Yeah, I know.
shitty project
Don't
and
talk to
went
me
to
about
such
January.
in like 5 days.
Don't talk to me about January, please. Okay, I don't want to.
Don't forget hate, man. I jumped my
I don't want
hate
to.
for 9
I
years
don't
on
want to talk about
some
January. Man.
really sad people now
was
because they're still holding.
I was depressed
But, yeah.
for 2
Yeah,
weeks.
I want to ask about a
Varies, go
different
ahead.
case than the
Yes.
ones you're talking about. So before January, even before December, so let's say October, November, there were some projects that minted that were somewhat hyped. So for example, Possessed Now, let's say, or even less hyped than that, like somewhat hyped, but nothing crazy. So they were minting at that time, like in the middle of bear. And yes, it's an option to not even mint because the market's not in a good place. But I minted a few of those, so not like crazy numbers, maybe one, maybe two, at a really, really cheap price, like 0.05, 0.04. I had minted that during bear, and once the hype of the bull came, some of those old projects, like some of those several-month-old projects, started going up like crazy. I'm talking about 1 ETH, 1.5 ETH floors. And I had kept a few of them and had the opportunity to sell multiple. So what do you think about those? What's your suggestion? Yeah.
Very, let me say this, then I'll leave the answer to Matt. I always say you make generational wealth with the decision you make during the bear market, not during the bull run. There are so many good projects that are undervalued today. Like for example, I'll give you a few. I actually posted that in one of my market updates. Remember, Llama was 0.05 in December and reached 8 ETH by March. Crypto Mori was 0.05, reached 3 ETH. NFT World, the land project, it was 0.1 in November. It reached 22 ETH. Doodle was 0.7, 0.8, reached 22 ETH. So no, we don't mean that you don't buy anything now. You need to buy into real and good projects now because these projects, when the volume is bad, will be 5 to 10x. Miles, I don't know what you have to say about this topic.
I forgot.
I've got a quick question.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Yes.
So, obviously I've done the same thing that, most of you did. I held my bags and got attached to my JPEGs. And, obviously I'm not down bad, but I'm still down a lot. And what I've noticed is like, there's this ever-ending debate that when ETH goes down, NFTs go up, right? That's how it always was. But in a true bear, we're experiencing what I've learned is called double capitulation. So like when ETH is crashing, NFT floor prices are crashing with it. So it's like a double whammy. But you guys see in the bull, it's safe to assume, like whenever that is, in the next year maybe, that it's going to be the exact opposite, that we can expect NFT floors to go up as ETH goes up simultaneously.
Do you want to take this or do I take it? This man with you.
Yeah. You're asking about the correlation between ETH down and NFTs up?
Well, yeah, basically what I'm focused on is in this bear, like in a true bear, we saw that ETH crashed and NFT floor prices crashed with it. So in the bull run, whenever that is, when ETH prices go back up, do we expect NFT floor prices to simultaneously go up because of the increased confidence in crypto again?
I think it's less to do with it going up or down and more stability in ETH price. I think when ETH price is not stable, NFTs fluctuate because people are not going to buy NFTs when ETH keeps going up or down. So it's just the other problem is that like people are saying like it's always been that way, but it's like what has always been that way? Like we have 12 months of data to go off. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's not like you can't say it's always been like anything. Like we had one market cycle ever in NFTs. So it's like you look at crypto, you have 10 plus years, equity market hundreds of years. NFTs is really like, yeah, they've been around since what, 2016 or 17, but like it wasn't a market. Even in May of last year, there was 40,000 active traders in the entire NFT market. Like there's millions of active traders in the United States equity markets daily, right? crypto, millions of traders worldwide. The NFT market last May had 50,000 participants. Like it wasn't even a market then. Like it's almost like a hobby, you know. Now it's developed into more than that, and it's going to continue to develop and mature. But you can't pinpoint a specific pattern or cycle, you know, theory, so to speak, with NFTs yet, because we just simply don't know, right? Like we never experienced NFTs in an actual bear market. Like the bear markets last year, like they were not actual like macroeconomic bear markets. They were just like micro bear markets in the NFT market while altcoins were moving again, right? And vice versa. So it's really hard to compare it to this, right? Like that was completely different setting. Like, so we'll have to see. I think we have to see a couple more years of price action and with NFTs to really make determinations like that. We don't know. Like it could be very possible that when ETH and everything starts ripping again, NFTs also start ripping because, like I said, this wasn't like a micro bear market. This was a full-on macro bear market recession that every market is going through right now. So will NFTs also rip when ETH? And we don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will.
Mama, let me tell you from experience. The problem, this is an influencer push narrative that, hey, ETH is down, let's buy NFTs. It's not. If you look at the data, during August 2021, we had one of the best bull runs for NFTs. Look what happened in crypto back then. Back then, ETH, I think, went from what 1,500 all the way to 5,000. So ETH was going up exponentially, and NFTs were going up. It's when Cybercoin literally went from 10 ETH to 200 ETH, while ETH was going up. So there is no correlation between ETH and crypto. And back to what Man mentioned, like we don't have the data. Like we have we have one main cycle that we are in now, and we have some mini cycles that we can't base any like conclusions from. Like you need years of data to say, yes, this is how it will play out. But back in August, September 2021, we had bullish crypto and bullish NFTs. So there is no correlation. It just happened. Like I don't know why, back between November and December, crypto was going down and NFTs weren't going up. NFTs actually started to go up early January, while crypto started to dump early November. So if you look at the data, like take the chart from crypto and take the chart and volume from NFTs, there is no correlation whatsoever.
Understood. I guess that's all I really wanted to know. Yeah, I feel that. I completely get what you're saying.
So KP, about what you told me about, buying NFTs during bear. So like I'm not sure about Llama, and Doodles were already pretty established and big at the time, but both for Llama, I believe, and also especially for NFT Worlds, because at the time, nobody knew that NFT Worlds was actually going to rip, right? It wasn't as big as like those established projects. People were worried that it would go to zero at the time. No one believed in it, let's say. So since you said to buy into established and good projects, what are the criteria that you consider when you are buying into projects during bear? Because for example, right now we're going through a bear, but even during this bear, the Llama floor is really high. Other side floor is really high. Like, okay, substantially lower than when it was during bull, but still.
But to not deviate from the main topic, let's have this for the next VC, and I can cover this in detail.
Okay, great, thanks.
Does anybody have any other questions about profit taking, managing your portfolio? Aurora, do you have any other questions about like how to manage those positions that you're down on? Like, what are you holding all of them? What's your strategy with that right now?
Yeah, definitely. That I think I don't want to take people's time during this VC. I would definitely like to talk to you about it all the DM and stuff, because
Sure.
I can't possibly fit it all into, however long this VC is going to be. And obviously there's other things they're about to talk about. So I don't want to interrupt, but yeah, definitely. I want to learn from my mistakes,
Well, look,
it was a lot.
you're not,
Yeah, it was just crazy.
you're
It was
not
all
the
very
you're not the
overwhelming.
only person in here who probably did that. So, like, even when we go over one person's personal mistakes, I'm sure that there's 10 other people who could learn from it. So what I will say is that for anyone that like didn't take profits and hold any positions, what you really need to evaluate right now and ask yourself on a fundamental level is, do you believe that those assets, whatever it is, whether it's a stock, whether it's an NFT, whether it's a altcoin, do you believe that they will make it through this bear cycle, right? Do you believe that they can survive if we potentially go into a 12 or 18? Anything is possible at this point, right? Do I think we're going to go into a multiple year? No, I don't, but it can happen. So the question that we need to be asking ourselves right now is like, if we're holding an asset, do we believe that it can survive a bear market, right? We need to evaluate a lot of different things. If it's an NFT project, how did they manage their treasury? Do they have enough funds to make it through a 12-month cycle when royalties are basically next to nothing outside of super hyped projects? And a lot of projects were sustaining themselves with royalties. Will they be able to do that for 12 months, right? These are questions we need to ask ourselves. We're holding NFTs, right? No, if it's down to a point where selling it isn't going to do anything for you, then you might as well just hold it and wait out. But if you, for example, bought an NFT that, say it's a higher ticket item, you spent $60,000 on it. Now it's worth, $15,000. Is it painful to take a $45,000 loss? Yes. Is it more painful to have that 15 go to zero? Yes. So these are questions that we need to ask ourselves. Do we strongly believe with a high degree of certainty? I mean, we can't be certain, but with the highest degree that we can, that this project will sustain and make it through? If so, then hold it, because the ones that do make it through to the opposite end of this cycle will be the OGs and probably some of the strongest projects in the game. But realistically speaking, 90% of projects won't make it, especially in NFT land. We saw the same thing happen with the ICO bubble in 2017. And the way I look at NFTs is NFTs are the ICO bubble of 2021, plain and simple. It's the same exact shit. Everybody using the same exact buzzwords. So yeah, that's the questions you need to ask yourself. You need to evaluate, altcoins market caps. Like, what's their market cap, right? If it's below 100 million, I would be careful holding it, right? If it's below 50 million, I don't know if I would be comfortable holding coins like less than a $50 million market cap right now. From my experience, the coins that I held with those types of market caps in 2018 all went to zero. All the blue chips went, even the shittiest of blue chips went. We went over this in the last cycle. They all went back up substantially. Like almost any top 100 coin, while it may not be a top 100 coin anymore, at some point in the cycle, it did continue to make a 5, 6, 7x return from its bear market lows. So yeah, I think that's the most important question to be asking yourself on a fundamental level, not a technical level. Fundamental. Do the fundamentals for this asset make me believe that it can survive an extended bear market? Do they have the treasury to do so? Who's the team? Have they disappeared in the bear market? Are they still, all these questions that we need to ask ourselves. And with altcoins too, like with the contagion that's happening right now, what's coming out with all these coins, like turning out Voyager, like it's really scary to see like all these major billion-dollar, like Voyager's a publicly traded company. Like they have a stock. It's publicly traded, and they're being degenerates with customers' money, giving fucking $700 million unsecured loans to 3AC. Unsecured, right? This is what one of the biggest exchanges in America is doing. You got Celsius being complete degenerates, 3AC getting liquidated. So there's just a lot going on. So we really need to kind of assess what's happening and make sure that the assets that we're holding, we're confident that they can make it through the end of this cycle. Does anybody have any other questions?
I actually had a question from the beginning of the presentation.
Sure.
You were talking about the double top and the point at which you sold at about 50,000, 50 something thousand. What were the trends that were happening that convinced you that it wasn't going to go back up? Because that was a significant drop from that point. So most people at 50, 55,000, as far as the losses at that point in the market, a lot of people might think, well, it's got to go back up now. This is a pretty significant drop. What made you liquidate your positions at that point instead of just
the previous experiences of losing, watching 90 go to 27, watching 80 go to 50. At that point, I wasn't willing to risk any more profits. That's really just where I was at that point. I refused to let more money come off the table. So this was kind of an emotional decision, honestly, like when I sold around here, because it did bounce a little bit and I probably could have got like an extra 5 to 6 grand out of this. And I've learned a lot since then. Like we're always learning from our experiences. Like I'm trading better now than I was then. But in that time, I made a somewhat of an emotional decision. Like I have watched my profits. This is the 4th time I've watched it happen. And I just refuse to leave any more money on the table. I said, you know what? I'm going to cut. May it bounce from here, sure. But this is looking eerily too similar like the 2018 cycle. And I just instantly got flashbacks of crypto winter. It's exactly how it played out in 2007, 2018, like almost identically to how it's playing out now. So I just, at that point I just said, enough, I'm going to cut. I'm not going to, like, it was affecting my sleep. I was stressed, you know what I mean? Like it's just, when it gets to that point, like I'd rather just go flat and be stable and just sleep easy, you know what I mean? And reallocate. And so that's what I did. A lot of people bag held, a lot of people bought more here. But for me, like I was realistic about the fact that like, okay, like everybody's saying BTC is going to go to 100K, ETH's going to go to 10K, but it's like, look at the run up that we've already had. Like some of these altcoins, like this is ridiculous. Like it was already an unprecedented run up, like, and it was coming right into the peak of when the run up stopped in 2018. So there was a little too many similarities to me once that December dump happened. I mean, look, this is a 20X. In literally it happened in 3 months, bro. Like this is July to November, you got a 20X happening after it already went from penny to already did a 20. Like assets were just doing, like it was just insane what was happening with altcoins. So like I knew that we were nearing the end of the cycle. Like things just can't go up forever. And when we've had these parabolic run-ups on like everything, right? Gala, I mean, talking September of 21 from 2 cents all the way up to 85 cents. Like it was just insane. And I was just getting flashbacks to 2018. And at that point I was like, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to cut my position and I'll reposition it at a later date. And I'm happy that I did because like everyone that didn't, bag held, bought more, and they're in max pain right now. So yeah, it was a good lesson for me. It was a good learning experience. Like I should have sold and took more profits here. I let my greed get the best of me. And when we crashed here, I made the decision, you know what, I'm just going to liquidate. I'm not going to continue to be stressed out for my nose here that I liquidated. No, it was December 6th. I liquidated my ETH, my whole crypto portfolio. Where was it? I think it was this week, somewhere in here. But yeah, wasn't like a technical reason. It was simply like a decision I made that, you know what, I can't predict the future, but what I can say is that I'm not gonna lose any more profits this year. So I'm gonna take what the market's given me. From what I deployed, I still ended up with like a 5, 6, 7x return overall, my overall capital in 2 years, which is an amazing return. And then I took that into NFTs and was able to, I made some mistakes, lost some money, but I was able to double that stack again. So it worked out well, but that was the main reason. I just didn't want to lose any more money, lose any more profits at that point.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions, guys?
I'm curious about, so you took the profits
Mm-hmm.
at that time, and so you said you went into NFTs, and NFTs was more like having a bull right after, right? That's why you went into it.
Basically, yeah.
But now everything's bearish, right? So how do you decide when to enter again, and how much of that profit that you've made in the previous bull do you invest into the same market again?
So all my stable bag is going back into crypto. I don't need it to live. I have other income. That's all getting reinvested. I'm looking to conservatively 10 to 20x that stack by the next cycle. So that's my mindset. I don't need that money. I'll leave it there. It's all going to be reinvested. Now, at what point do you begin to start to determine that it's safe to start deploying funds? Around now, typically in crypto and altcoins, we see a 90% drawdown. 72 out of 100 of the top 100 coins are down 90% already. So that's the point where I decided to start DCAing into positions. As you guys saw last Saturday, I deployed 10% of my bag. We were having a real red bloody day. I said, okay, let me deploy 10% of my bag here. We had a strong bounce and I sold because the market gave me a stronger bounce than I expected. And I'm going to take the profits when it gives them to me. But I'm going to look to start DCAing again. I wanted to break down below these levels here, probably below 900, since I saw that this bounce just completely failed and we're heading back down. So over the next 6 months, I'll start deploying 10 to 15% of my stable bag into those positions respectively at certain levels. Like at this point, you could just start safely averaging 10, 15% a month on a red day like today, right? You could put 10% of your bag in. Next month, just watch the market, see when you have a nice red day or you get to a new bloody. The best days to buy are when the market's in like capitulation mode, panicking, you know? And if we were to get like an absolute capitulation event where ETH was dumped to 500, I would probably deploy 20% of my bag, right? I would deploy a bigger amount. So it's not like a set in stone predefined strategy, because at the end of the day, we don't know what the macro environment could present us that could change the direction of the market at any moment, right? We just don't know. So if for some reason the macro setting actually went bullish, I would have to consider deploying a larger amount of that capital, right? So it's something that just comes with experience and time, being able to pivot like that. But safely speak, like during this bear market, you can deploy 10% of your funds every month, right? And you could look to do that. Don't buy in green days, buy in red days. And that's about it. Like what's more important at this point, at these price points, is the proper fundamental analysis. Like making sure that if you're going to buy altcoins, you're buying altcoins that have a viable product, a unique value proposition, that they're not, in a space within crypto that has 100 different projects that they're competing with, right? Like layer ones, right? If you're going to buy into layer ones, there's a lot of different L1s. So you have to really do your research and make a bet on the right one and why this one will be around in the next cycle and the other one won't, right? So fundamental analysis is more important now. Now that we've gotten to that 90% draw, could we go down another 50% from here? Yes, which would equate to about a 95% drawdown. Yes, but that's why you don't deploy the full bag at once, right? Like one of the big mistakes we make as rookie traders is like, we get this dip down in here and people loaded the whole boat right here. They loaded the boat, and you see people bragging on Twitter, yeah, I caught the bottom on ETH, it's going up, bull market is back, bro, 5K next week. And then it's right back down to where they started. That's why we don't deploy the full bag, right? And this is a lesson that I had to learn throughout my experience. We all do it. We all get excited. We all overextend. But this is why you scale into positions, and this is why you scale out of positions every time, plain and simple. So we just have to keep an eye on the market and what it's giving us. But conservatively speaking, when it comes to crypto, 90% drawdowns is a safe place to begin to dollar cost average into positions. Average, not go heavy. You deploy a certain percentage of your bag, on certain red days where you feel like it's a good place to buy in. Now with NFTs, to be honest, I'm not buying any NFTs right now. Period. Like I don't care what it is. Doodles, no, I'm not buying any NFTs when the asset that they're priced in is in an extremely volatile state. I'm not going to buy NFTs for $1,000 ETH when ETH could be 500 in a week. It just doesn't make sense for me. And as you guys could see, floor prices don't adjust to ETH prices, right? So the people who bought in when ETH was at 1,700 on that dip, I actually think floor prices went down even more since then. So floor prices are down, and the ETH you bought is down 50% since. So yeah, NFTs for me right now are a no-go. Unless it's like a community that I've been really wanting to get into, where I'm getting value from it another way. Because here's the thing, like deploying those funds into that NFT right now, like it's not going to give you a good ROI on my investment. However, when you're talking about a server like Magma or certain alpha servers like Dark Echelon or whatever, like if those were extremely expensive assets that you're priced out of at one point, but you want to get into that community for networking purposes, where you can get a return on your investment in a different way besides capital, and that's a different story, right? There are certain communities that I bought NFTs for, not because I thought I was going to make money on investment, but because I knew I could network with certain people and that could bring me an ROI in a different way, right? So that's kind of like my thought process with NFTs. If there's NFTs where you want to get access to that community for networking and different type of value, do it. But if you're going to buy NFTs right now expecting to get a positive return on your capital on that investment, I just don't see that happening for a while. Is it still happening? Yes, on these free mints and all this bullshit, but I'm just not trading that stuff, to be honest with you. You know, even stuff like Possessed, like this is at 0.8 pre-reveal. If it pumps to 1, maybe 1.2 pre-reveal, it'll be 0.4 on reveal probably. So that's just, you know, we'll see what happens, but I can almost guarantee you this will be substantially lower when it reveals. So yeah, that's just my opinion on like, and like if I'm buying an art project like Possess, like what is it going to do for me in this bear market? Is it the best place to park my capital? Am I going to get value out of the community? If I can get value out of the community some way, then yeah, maybe I consider buying it. But if I'm not even going to be in the Discord and it's just an art project and we're in a macro environment like this, what's the point? I have better places I can park my capital right now. So that's just my stance right now with NFTs. Crypto, I'm comfortable DCAing into stocks like Shopify, for example. Shopify was at 1,400 at its peak. They did a 10-to-1 stock split. Now it's down to $30. So it would be at 300 before the split. But like that's an 80% dump on Shopify. I'm super bullish on Shopify. They partnered with Doodles for a token gated experience. And, you know, like Shopify is going to be around in 10 years. Like I can confidently say that. So like I can confidently deploy capital to that, right? Like Amazon is beat up. Go buy Amazon. Amazon's not going anywhere, right? I don't think there's one person in this voice chat right now who would think that Amazon's not going to be around in 10 years. Will Possessed be around in 10 years? I don't think there's one person in here who could say that they will be confidently, right? We don't know for sure. We don't even know if they're going to be around in a year, right? So that's kind of my mindset right now. It's like there's assets. We don't need to buy risky assets. This is why NFTs are getting beaten. We don't need to buy super risk on assets right now because blue chip assets are at such low prices that we can make generational wealth from just buying them and holding them for 2 years. So why take a chance on a super risk on asset that you don't know is going to survive when you could buy Shopify and make 10x in 5 years, you know? So that's kind of where my brain's at right now. Any other questions, guys? No?
I'm glad you said something. I was about to ape into Possess for 0.75.
Yeah, I mean, you could maybe make some money, you know, maybe you'll flip it. It'll go up to like 1.2. You'll make like, even that, like 0.4 ETH is like $400 now, bro. After fees, it's like 3. It's not even, I don't know. It's not even like, it's cool. Like you can do it, but like, it's just the risk to return, the risk to reward ratio is not there anymore with NFTs, right? Like the risk to reward with NFTs is like you risk 0.1 or you risk 1 ETH, you potentially make 5, right? Now it's like you're risking 0.8 to make 0.4 profit. Like a 50% return on NFTs to me is not worth the risk because you can have a 70% drawdown in an hour. I mean, we've all seen NFT projects. One piece of FUD comes out of Possessed, turns out the fucking founders of Rug or whatever, just hypothetically, that shit will go to, you know, 0.1 in an hour and a half. You won't even be able to sell it. It'll go down so fast. So the art of the risk to reward just isn't there anymore. The multiples are not there anymore on NFTs. So that's why I'm just, you know, staying clear of them for now. I bought the Doodles buckets, like that I bought. Like, I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer to me. You know, it's Doodles. They're cheap. Like, after the Doodles conference. Their conference is like an Apple conference. So I'll gladly buy these. Wow, look at Pranksy. Holy, what's the price on these now? He put 140 ETH for 933 boxes. .15. Ooh, they're up to 0.15. I'm gonna have to up my bid. They only put 0.2 in. But yeah, that's about it. Like I'll buy some of these Doodles boxes for sure. Because it's Doodles, and it's a cheap entry into their project, but that's about it. Yeah. Anyone else?
I'll possess. I just wanted to add. I don't think 0.75 is really going to be a great play because like 6,000 haven't even been minted yet, and when public happens, I definitely think they're about to be
very good
jumping.
point.
I'm sorry if I missed you saying something. I was like zoned out for a second.
I didn't. That's a very good point. Neon, and I thank you for mentioning that. I completely forgot. We never buy an NFT when there's 6,000, when the supply is not minted out. Okay. You don't want to buy an NFT when 3K out of 10K have been minted, because 7,000 more NFTs are going to hit the market in this market too. So it's going to come down. Like there's no scenario where in a super bullish market where people are buying more than they're minting, and it's just the sales are outpacing the listings. Like maybe in this market, if you're buying at 0.75 now and another 7K are going to hit the market, you're going to get smacked. So
I thought the exact same thing for the Lacoste mint. Like close to 1,200 was minted at the time. I was like, okay, that is the top 11K supply. There's no way it's gonna go up, and it went up. It was like 1 in a million, but it
the
happened.
floor was really low on those, right? Like when they first hit, the floor was pretty low on them, right?
Before it went to 0.4-ish, it was at 0.2, close to 0.2.
And what was the mint? What was the mint price?
0.08, I think. Okay. And then it went to 0.2.
Yeah, I mean it happens occasionally, like where like, but the demand has to be like it has to be a mixture of really good demand and a community that's not like paper handing. Like it's just it rarely happens. Does it happen occasionally? Yes. But for me, I'm like a probabilities guy, you know. I try to have as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
absolutely agree.
Yeah, you try to have as much of an edge as you possibly can. So if 90% of the time that's what happens, then I'm not going to make that bet. If I'm wrong 1 out of 10 times, that's okay. I'll look for a different entry. But I don't want to take the chance. Like, oh, what if this is the one chance where it doesn't happen? Like majority of the time, it does happen. So I'm going to lean towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. It's just that you feel bad, but you need to get used to that feeling. Like once every 20 projects, and that's just fine. You know, people usually don't remember the good plays that they make, and then they remember the bad ones and the ones that they were wrong at, although they follow the probability and everything else. But yeah, we just need to get over it and then move on to the next one, right?
I think this is a perfect thing to finish the session on, is that one of the most important things that anybody needs to learn to be successful trading any market is that there will always be another play. Okay, there's always going to be another play. If you sit there getting upset and FOMO that you missed goblins or this and that, and as a new trader, I know it's really hard to accept. Like when I was in the options community when I first started, there's guys making 50, 60 grand a day. I'm struggling to make 200 bucks. It was hard. It mentally is tough. Like you get FOMO, you end up chasing and getting emotional and making mistakes. But the reality of it is that
revenge trading.
What was that?
Revenge trading.
I revenge traded yesterday. I lost $1,000. I was not in a good mood when I sat down to trade options in the morning, and I continued to trade knowing that I was on tilt. I have a temper when I get upset. So, and I knew I shouldn't have been trading. I just continued to trade. I started minus 500, got back up to only minus 150, went back to minus 500, got angry, kept trading, ended the day minus 950, right? So I lost an extra $800 by revenge trading on the market when I shouldn't have, right? And I'm a human, I still make mistakes, but I've learned overwhelmingly at this point, like I don't chase, I don't get FOMO as much. Like I always used to chase after NFT plays. Like I would be watching one at 0.2, it'd go up to 0.8. I didn't buy, I start buying at 0.9, right? I'm buying at the top right before a psychological level of 1 ETH. Like these are the mistakes I made when I first started, right? And like we just need to remember that like, you know, there's always going to be another play. Like every market will always present you with other opportunities to make money, plain and simple. So don't beat yourself up and make stupid decisions because you missed out on goblins or another big play. There's going to be another one.
Anas, would you mint something? Let's say there's 10 minutes to go or left to the whitelist mint, and 65% have been minted. Would you mint it?
And you're saying only not the full supply has been minted?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a public mint after, or is the public mint done, or is there no public mint?
Let's say about 10% is left for public. So you've got about 75%.
It really depends on like what the project is, but hypothetically speaking, if a project doesn't mint its full supply, that's usually a bearish sign, and usually the floor price will reflect that afterwards. So my thought process would be, I could get a better entry if I like this thing might go below mint. Now, it depends. Like if it's a tool or something I really want access to, I might buy it if I want to support the project. It's not like a completely black and white answer, but most of the time, no, I wouldn't mint. If a project isn't minting out and I don't see the demand to mint out, I'm not going to see a strong secondary demand. So I'm probably not going to mint. In this market, definitely not. In a bull market, it depends on the case.
And if I can add to that, it's you said there's 10% supply left. There's a good chance that if the floor is even making people a bit of money, they're going to rush to get that 10%. And you're going to have a gas floor. You're going to end up spending more than you would buying a floor anyway.
Yeah. So it's a floor play, pretty much.
Basically, yeah. Stage. But why wouldn't the project just release the rest of the whitelist supply to public in that case? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because like here, if you had, for example, say you allocated 7,000 out of 10K to whitelist, only 65% of that minted. Well, then you could say, okay, this is the percentage of the whitelist that minted. We're going to allow. Oh, that math is not working right in my head right now. I don't know, whatever 3, 4. You will allocate it. Yeah, it's not a great sign. So for me, I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna just watch. I don't need to rush into the mint. I see that the whitelist demand isn't super crazy high. So I'm just gonna watch and see if I could get a better entry on secondary. But like if I really want access to that community, I'll buy one. You know, it really depends on the mint price, a couple different factors that go into play, but usually I'll just wait it out and see if I could snipe it off the floor for lower.
If it's a flood or if it's a long-term.
Exactly. Right. It really depends. But typically, like if I'm not too invested in the project, no, I would just pass. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap it up? Take another one. No? All right. It was a pleasure, guys, as always. Once the recording is processed, I will share it with Barry so she can post it.